And we are live. Good day, good afternoon, good morning, good wherever, good whatever time it happens to be in your neck of the woods. Lee Hayward, joined by Jeff Samataro for the Total Fitness Bodybuilding video chat for October 20th. And this is it's been a while, Jeff, since we've had a chat. I was just mentioning before we started the recording or the live stream, whatever the heck this is, the live stream. I was just mentioning that it's been a while since we actually did a chat together. So how have things been? How are things in New Hampshire these days?
Things have been really great. Recently, I discovered a new calisthenics park in New Hampshire, right like 20 minutes down the road from me. And
Cool.
October has been really great weather-wise during the week for the most part. So that's been awesome because it rained all June, July, August. Like the summer was a complete washout. But October has been absolutely beautiful. And it's like this very scenic calisthenic park, like right at the top of the park, and you can see like the hills and all the foliage and everything like that, and it's just been great. So I've been super motivated to get to the park, and I've been working outside every day, well,
Yeah.
like 4 or 5 days out of the week, and yeah, just been really enjoying it, making some great strides with my fitness. I achieved a muscle up this past month, my
Way
first
to go,
muscle up.
man.
Yeah,
That's
very
impressive. I mean, a strict muscle up, and you're doing it on rings too, not just
yeah.
a pull-up bar. You're doing it on rings, which adds the extra element of challenge and difficulty and stabilization, all that stuff. So, man, that's respectable for sure.
I tell you, it's been a long journey to get there. I've been trying to do a muscle up now for literally years.
Yeah.
So yeah, so to hit that first one when I got over the rings for the first time, it was like one of the most like just euphoric like feelings of achievement I think that I've ever like experienced in my life. It just felt amazing.
That's awesome, man. Good for
Yeah.
you and congrats. I know you've been posting some video clips there, and I seen the muscle up one. That's awesome. So, or is it one rep of muscle ups? Have you progressed to doing multiple reps or?
I can do three sets of
Okay.
muscle ups.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, 3 in a
Three
row.
with rings. Have you tried doing them on the pull-up bar?
I've tried doing it with the pull-up bar, and actually, I find it a little harder on the straight bar than I do with the rings.
Really?
Maybe it's just because I had spent so much time practicing with the Olympic rings, but with the bar, it's harder to hold the grip, the false grip on the top
Yeah,
on
I
the
know what you mean.
bar. Yeah.
Where I guess you got that bit of freedom of movement with your hands with the rings that you
Yeah.
don't have with the uh, uh, you know pull-up bar.
Right. Yeah. So it's a little bit harder. I can do it if I get some momentum, if I get like a little bit of swing happening at the
Mhm.
bottom, so
Yeah.
swing and then pull yourself up, like then I can get over the bar, but just like strict like dead hang up into it, I can't do it.
Gotcha.
Not yet at least.
Yes, yeah. I've only ever once did a muscle up, and that's oh man, years ago. But yeah, I had to use a bit of body English to get myself over the bar.
Yeah.
But still, even then, it was a good accomplishment for sure, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we
totally.
got some people joining in. Obviously, this is an earlier video chat than I normally do. Like my regular live at 5 on Fridays. Well, we're well ahead of that. This is we started at just after 1 p.m. Eastern time, and we're going to go for about an hour. And we're going to keep it to an hour because Jeff has to go. Jeff's playing a gig tonight. I have to go because I actually have an appointment to get to. So we are going to keep it into that hour range because I know sometimes I get the gift of gab and I go a bit longer. Hey, if you enjoy what you do, you can make it work, right? You can go longer,
Right.
but today we have to keep it to a timeline. But for those of you who are joining in, obviously we got the regulars here letting us know that it is coming through loud and clear. I normally always ask, does it come through loud and clear? But we have some people saying that it is, so appreciate it. The way these chats work is myself and Jeff are going to be answering questions and topics of discussion that you have related to fitness and nutrition. So, any specific challenges related to your workouts, your eating plan when it comes to building muscle, losing fat, or any just topics of discussion, like if there's certain things you want to ask our opinion on or questions on, whether it's dietary trends, workout trends, whatever, we'll do our best to help you out over the course of our video chat. And if we can help you, then we will. If we can't, then we'll try and point you in the right direction to somebody who can. Right? I always like to make that clear because I never claim to be a know-it-all. Right? Even though I've been in the fitness industry for over 30 years and I've coached hundreds upon hundreds of people and in person and then indirectly thousands of people online, I've never claimed to be a know-it-all, and I'm always open to learning. And I always try to approach things with that beginner's mind. And I find that when you approach it with that beginner's mind, the growth potential is infinite. But once you say, I know that, I got this all figured out, and you kind of like, oh, all right, I'm a know-it-all, you close off that learning process. And I see that so often. People say, I know that. Well, if you know it, then how come the results aren't showing, if you will, right? So I never claim to be a know-it-all. So if there's anything that you ask, if I feel that I can't give you an honest answer, or if Jeff can't give you a good answer or something we're not familiar with, we have no shame in saying, I don't know that. But we will try and point you in the right direction to get you the answers you need. All right, with that being said, let's jump in. Let's see who we've got. We have Opie joining in. Hello, Opie. I think he's a friend of yours, isn't he, Jeff?
He is. He's a good friend.
He's got a drum avatar there, so
yeah, fellow drummer.
Right, rock on.
One hell of a drummer too.
Good. We have the next generation of drummers in this house.
I saw that.
We've got Harvey Hayward coming up, and he's doing the School of Rock. He's been doing it now since I don't know exactly how long it's been, but it's been a while. Like, I think back in the spring. So we're going on 6 months or more of lessons. And the way it is with School of Rock, they can play multiple instruments, but he's kind of gravitated towards the drums. He has played a little bit of guitar as well, but drums is his thing. So twice a week now, two lessons a week, one with the group and one private lesson.
Awesome.
So,
love it.
Yep. And he told me the other day, he said, Dad, he says, I like the School of Rock better than regular school. So I appreciate that. So,
yeah. I can relate to that. I've always absolutely.
Right? Yeah. All right. Who else we got there? We have Yogesh Baragi. Namaste. Namaste, my friend. All right. We'll get our yoga poses on here shortly. Christina's asking, how do you get a flat tummy? That's like, how long's a piece of string? Or, that's a huge open-ended question there. What I'd like to know, Christina, is if you want to elaborate on this a bit more, what are you currently doing? Like, where are you at in your fitness journey? Are you going to the gym? Are you exercising? Are you following any sort of nutrition plan yet? Or are you just like, I'm brand new beginner just getting started? Because that will depend where we take this question. And rather than spending half an hour of our hour covering strategies to how to lose a tummy, if you're watching this, feel free to elaborate on your situation, your whatever, and we'll try to do our best. And if not, then you can also send me a private message or an email, and we can discuss this in more detail through Messenger. All right. Yeah, just that's actually brings up a good point. For your questions, try and be a bit specific. Like, how do you build muscle? Or, how do you lose fat? Not that there's anything wrong with that question, but a bit more specific would help. All right, here's a specific question from YT. Mike Mentzer mentioned we only need to do one single set per exercise, but Arnold advocates multiple sets, high volume. What are your thoughts? There's a follow-up to this one as well. It says, also, Mentzer says we need 4 days of rest between workouts. So if we hit chest day 1, day 2 is legs, day 3 is arms, day 4 is legs again. He wouldn't hit chest again until 16 days later. Thoughts on this? All right. All right. First off, Jeff, are you familiar with Mike Mentzer?
I am, yes.
He's kind of making the man has passed on, right? So like he's up in the iron heaven doing his one set to failure up there. But he's kind of making a bit of a comeback. Like, a lot of people on YouTube these days have been resharing old clips because he had a system that made him famous which was the heavy duty system. And he, books, 3-ring binder, VHS tape course, the whole rigmarole. And people have been resharing a lot of that content in YouTube videos, and people have been sharing their thoughts and feedback, whether it was good, bad, or ugly, and everything in between. So you're familiar with Mike. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I've seen his videos and I've seen him before. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was a big influence in my early days of training, because he had regular columns and articles in all the magazines back in the 90s, when that was my heyday, when I was getting started in the whole bodybuilding. So yeah, reading about Mike Mentzer. And then what also really helped to catapult Mike into stardom was former Mr. Olympia Dorian Yates, who was the reigning Mr. Olympia during the late 90s. He actually during the majority of the 90s, because Dorian won in 92, and then throughout the mid 90s was his reign of the Mr. Olympia. So that he was an advocate of this higher intensity style training. Now, Dorian's training was not exactly like what Mike Mentzer advocated, but it was similar, right? There were similarities there. And of course, they piggybacked off that. And that was really what drove the popularity of this heavy duty style of training, the high intensity style of training. And it works. It can absolutely work. There's no doubt about it. But is it the only way? Or does it mean that, higher volume, lower intensity, whatever doesn't work? No. There's multiple ways to train. There's multiple ways to build muscle. Like, as the old saying goes, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Now, I don't know why anybody wants to skin a cat, but there's more than one ways to build muscle. And this is just one method. Jeff, have you tried it? Have you ever done any of these high intensity style workouts?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, actually.
Okay. Share your experience. I'd love to hear your feedback and experience on it.
Yeah, I've gone through multiple phases of doing like really high intensity, low frequency, and then doing like really high volume. And with the high intensity, low frequency, I found that although it was effective, it was kind of debilitating in that a sense. Like, I would wake up the next day and be like just crippled.
Okay.
It's just from
the
like
intensity.
Yeah, just from like going real hard with certain things, like especially on like lower body exercises like squats and things like that, and I don't I like to be active every single day. Like, I try to work out every single day, and I found that would keep me from doing other like forms of exercise. So like in the next day after doing a session like that, like I would be less apt to skip a bike ride or skip a cardio session or walking in general. I would just want to go sit on the couch and just be paralyzed. So
Inactive. Yeah.
And then I've also done the opposite of that too. I've done like real high frequency. I remember one time when you and I when I was going through the program initially, I had wanted to create my own program, like my own workout split and what I was going to do. And I sent you this like laundry list of all these different exercises, and it was like broken down. Like Monday was this. I was trying to get 20 sets per exercise on every body part, and just like the volume was just insane, right? And I remember I sending that to you, and being like, "So is this overkill?" And you were like, very, very kindly and politely, you were like, "Just a tad,
just a tad."
Just a tad overkill. So where I am right now is I'm kind of in the sweet spot now, where I'm doing strength training 3 days out of the week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then doing cardio Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And I like that split. And when I'm in the gym and I'm doing the strength training exercises, like I'm pushing myself, I'm going hard, and I'm getting, to a point relatively close to failure. But like when I was doing the real high intensity stuff, it was like, drop sets and like pause and like recover for a little bit and then go even further.
Rest pause.
Yeah, rest pause, right? Doing those kinds of workouts. And you know, that kind of stuff, because you're going beyond failure at that
Right.
point, right? Doing like the half reps, quarter reps, things like
Mhm.
that. And
Sure.
so now I've kind of like, I'm kind of over that now, and I'm more about having a overall level of fitness instead of like just always stressing muscle hypertrophy all the time.
Yeah. That's a great point, and I'm glad you shared that, because the way the heavy duty style of training is, if you listen to Mike Mentzer's talk on it, is it's all just geared around stimulating hypertrophy, maximum muscle stimulation. Like, that's his number one focus. And from that point of view, it can be effective. And we need to like zoom out. There's multiple layers here. First off, like, if you're doing nothing, like you're not exercising, you're not going to the gym, your training is zero, nothing. Anything you do consistently is going to produce results, right? Whether that is a body weight calisthenic workout, whether that's a CrossFit workout, whether that's a 3 days per week workout, it's total body, upper body, lower body splits, push pull, anything you do, if you're unconditioned, anything you do initially is going to produce results. Once you get past that initial hump, right, you get past the newbie gains. That's where it gets challenging, right? That's where, okay, now it simply showing up to the gym doesn't just magically build maximum muscle anymore. I mean, it's still better than nothing, and you can maintain or make slow gains, but it's not going to be the rapid results that we initially seen when we started. So that's where we need to find ways to provide unique muscle stimulation. And heavy duty is certainly a unique form of muscle stimulation for a lot of people. The idea of training to failure and pushing to failure and beyond in a lot of cases. So, like, going to failure and then maybe doing some forced repetitions or some negatives or whatever, partial reps, all the stuff that you mentioned that you were doing. That's a way to provide some unique muscle stimulation, which can help take the training to another level. Now, where things get a bit muddled, if you will, right, is the extremes. It's the extreme approach, and we can kind of look at this from the nutrition point of view. Like, on one side, we have vegans who are telling you if you eat a piece of meat, you're going to die. On the other side, you got carnivores who say if you eat a vegetable, you're going to die. And both are convinced they're right. And both of them can make up arguments and back their claims up and show people who followed totally opposing approaches and have made progress, right? Following a vegan diet or a carnivore diet. This battle between Mike Mentzer's heavy duty one set and Arnold's high volume multiple sets, low frequency, high frequency, it's like the vegan carnivore debate. And the way that I like to look at it, why don't we combine the best of both? Like, why don't we eat some vegetables and some meat, right? Have a meat and veggie based diet, right? Get the best of both. Same when it comes to this. Why don't we have, some high intensity training and have some volume in there as well, and kind of get the best of both? And that happy medium is where I like to settle. And one of the drawbacks I found with the this extreme high intensity, low volume approach is, one, the risk of injury is quite high, because where you're only doing one set, I was going to say one exercise, one set per exercise, not counting the warm-ups, one working set. You're tempted to really push that to the limit and beyond. And in doing so, very often you're trained to the point of your form is breaking down and you're pushing yourself such a high intensity. It's easy to walk that tightrope and then go over the edge, where you end up pulling, straining, snapping your shit up, as they used to say, right? Hurting yourself. Whereas if you're doing multiple sets, like, okay, I don't need to go as deep because I know I'm going to do another set and another set. And maybe I'll still ultimately get the same stimulation over 2 or 3 sets versus trying to get it all done in one set. So that's the way I go about it. I'd rather do 3 sets to momentary muscular failure, or even stopping reps shy of failure, versus one all out set to failure and beyond. Because having that rep in reserve allows you to keep control of the weight and minimize the risk of injury. Like, that max all out rep, like, you think to yourself, you're straining on a bench press and then all of a sudden, pop, there goes the rotator cuff. Or you're struggling, like you are grinding that last rep of a squat and the weight is barely moving. Then all of a sudden, there goes, the knees or the lower back or whatever. Like, the risk of injury with those heavy weights and that high intensity and that struggling and grinding, that true rep to failure, the risk of injury is not worth it, in my opinion. Right. And I'm speaking from someone who's had multiple injuries over the years. So I would rather have a rep or two in reserve where I can lift that weight, comfortably rack it on my own, rest, recover, and do another set if I feel I need more muscle stimulation, and remain relatively injury free, or at least dramatically reduce the risk of injury in the process.
Yeah.
And, so that's my opinion. As far as the frequency and stuff, I think that was a bit overkill, because we only train a muscle group once every 4 days. And I've heard people going to the other extreme. Like there was a group of guys had a program out. It was kind of modeled after the high intensity. Oh Jesus, power factor training is what they called it back in the day. I can't remember the guys' names who put it out now. Anyway, if you Google search power factor training, you probably find them. They might be still online. I don't know. But they had a program that was really popular in the early days of the internet. And they took it to the extreme of saying, oh, you only need to train once a week. And then sometimes, oh, you only need to train every 2 weeks or whatever. Like, man, if you're going to the gym once every 2 weeks, you're not getting better. Like, you're not building up your strength, your stamina. You're not getting the health benefits of exercise.
Right.
So you need that frequency, like Jeff was mentioning earlier. Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
definitely,
I'm not a fan of the extreme, and to give you the analogy to kind of tie it together, it's almost like the vegan extreme and the carnivore extreme. Like, both are doing total opposite ends of the spectrum, and both camps are convinced they're right. How about we take the best of both worlds and find that happy medium in the middle? That's the way I like to approach it.
Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else you want to add to that, Jeff? Or
I just feel like those. Yeah, I just feel like those guys like Mike and Arnold and like those guys are like competing at such a high level that they're just trying to eke out like every little last inch of progress ever, or that there is. So for them, it's like the risk to reward is like they've chosen, like, I'm going to push it to the point of where I could potentially get injured because there's so much on the line. It's like for just like an average person who's just trying to be fit and healthy and in shape and everything, it's like it's not worth pushing yourself to like eye bulging intensity where you could potentially injure yourself. Like, for what, right? Literally for what? So your bicep can be 1/8 of an inch bigger than how it is today, right? It doesn't matter.
I mean, a prime example of that is look at former Mr. Olympia Ronnie Coleman. I mean, like, he's arguably the best bodybuilder in terms of sheer muscle mass and conditioning that was ever packed onto a human frame. Like, he's arguably the best bodybuilder that ever lived. And look at him now. I mean, I don't know exactly how old he is. I'm sure someone can Google search it and find out, but he's in his 50s, I believe, that range, like maybe late 50s, somewhere around there. And the man is basically crippled. Like, he walks with crutches because he's broke his back. I mean, those years of heavy training has just demolished his body. Now, he still goes to the gym and keeps himself active as much as he can, but like he cannot go for a walk without the aid of crutches or a wheelchair or whatever. Like, he's done so much damage to his body, and he's still a relatively young man by today's standards. Like, your 50s is not old. Like, I wouldn't want to be crippled in my 50s, right? Heaven forbid.
No.
So yeah, he pushed it to the limit. And if you look at Ronnie's case, he was doing the high intensity. He was doing the high volume. He was burning the candle at both ends. But I mean, it worked, but at what cost? Right? I mean, I know you hear him in interviews and stuff saying, if he could do it all over again, he would have trained even harder, right? Because yes, he'll go down in history as the legend of the sport, but like, that is the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. Like, I mean, that is the pinnacle. Like, most anybody watching this video chat now, like, there's a good chance you don't have Ronnie Coleman genetics, and there's a good chance you're not going to win the Mr. Olympia, right? Maybe if you do, by God, message me back after you win it and let me know. But most likely, people watching this video chat right now are not contenders for the Mr. Olympia now or anytime in the future, right? Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
If you just want to live a healthy life, it's that kind of intensity is not worth it. And that's a great point, Jeff. I'm glad you brought that up. Right.
Can I add to that a little bit more?
Yeah, this is good, because I think a lot of people get caught up in, oh, well, what are the pros doing? And what's the scientifically best program? And what's going to stimulate 1.3% more muscle gains? And like everybody's trying to, like, you need to look at it from a big picture, holistic perspective. Like, what are you going to do? And what is safe and sustainable for you long term? And what can you enjoy? Like, have the workouts add to your life and not take away from your life.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like when I was first starting out and everything, like I was always just like obsessed with just being like big, right? Like trying to get big, trying to look big. And I neglected like so many other aspects of my fitness.
Yes.
And also suffered, you know, in the sense that like I always felt awful. Like I was I was always sore. I was always like my nervous system was always depleted. Like I would suffer at work because of it, because I go to the gym and kill myself, and then I go to my other things like work and my relationships and everything. It was more, and I wasn't as productive as I could have been because I was so drained from the sessions like previously that I had done in the day. So I shifted my mindset like within the past like 2 years of like not just like constantly obsessing over being big and trying to be big and everything, because I don't have the genetics to be that big, you know, and even if I could, like I don't know if I would necessarily even want to be that big.
Right.
Like, and once I started focusing on other aspects of my fitness, like mobility and cardio and like in not killing myself, so that way I can focus on those other aspects as well and put as much attention into those. Like now all of a sudden, like I'm starting to like really reap the benefits of being in shape and being fit. Like I feel great. Like every single day I wake up and I feel awesome. I'm not in like chronic pain all the time. Like I don't have aches and pains and things like that like a lot of people, you know, complain about, like, oh, my neck always hurts, or oh, my shoulders always hurt, or stuff like that. Like I feel great. I feel like I'm in my 20s, like, or my teen years, like. And a lot of that is from, you know, just spreading it out a little bit and not overly obsessing over just trying to beat myself to death to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
That's a good point. I'm glad you mentioned that. And this whole holistic lifestyle approach, this is what we emphasize within the whole Muscle After 40 Blueprint VIP community. Like we've got a coaching program and a group of guys who are going through it there. And this is the conversations we have within that group, is, you know, like this sustainable longevity approach, and not the kill yourself and suffer it out at all costs approach. I mean, yeah, there's a time and a place for killing yourself and suffering it out at all costs, and especially for elite level athletes, or, you know, where winning and losing comes down to, you know, fractions of a second, or you know, world record lifts can be determined by a pound, or bodybuilding competitions are won and lost, you know, by, I don't even know how you would break it down, but one guy looks a smidgen better in his underwear than the next. How you measure that on a scale, I don't know. But when things are so, you know, you're pushing yourself, and the competition is so hard, and so, you know, the level is just at the ultimate peak. Yeah, there's a time and a place to suffer it out. But the average person who wants to be fit and healthy and live a long life, and they don't need to suffer it out, right? Right. It doesn't have to be about suffering it out. You're allowed to enjoy exercise and nutrition. I know that's a mind-blowing concept for some people. What? I can enjoy this, right? I don't have to feel miserable in the gym, and I don't have to feel miserable on my diet. No, you don't. You can still be good enough consistently and enjoy the process. And that's, once you get that, it's such a weight lifted off your shoulders, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, it adds to your life versus take away from your life. And that's what we're all about trying to do here.
Exactly.
But thank you, Mr. YT. You've added a lot of conversation to our video chat. So let's move on. Well, because I'm sure there's other questions coming through here. We have a dead fish lord joining us. Hoy to you. Where do you come up with these? I mean, I can understand your username. You're the Southern. What's your Southern
NH drum lessons? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense. But I mean, a dead fish lord. Like, no offense, Mr. Dead Fish Lord, but like, where did that come from? I'm sure there's a good reason behind it.
Yeah.
We have Craig Bennett joining, right? This is a username I can relate to. A name. I've never ever had funky usernames. It's always just been very plain. Lee Hayward. That's just me. Very little creativity went into my username.
Yeah, but you're not lying.
No. Anyway, we got Craig joining us. He says, hello, Lee. Hello, Jeff. Thanks for all your info, especially on the importance of starting. Walking is all I can do at the moment. Let me rephrase that. I get to walk. I love that. Yeah, good rephrase there. He gets to walk, and loves that you promote that, Craig. I appreciate you for sharing that. And I know Craig mentioned over on our private Total Fitness Bodybuilding group, I believe he had some heart issues, if I am not mistaken. I'm actually just open up another window here. Where was that? I think he did. Yeah, he literally had a heart attack. Hopefully you're okay with me mentioning that here, Craig. And had implanted a defibrillator pacemaker, right? And going through the whole recovery process. So yeah, I mean, you get to go walking, like after having a heart attack, after having your brush with death. I mean, that's a scary thing. So thinking of it from the health, fitness, and longevity point of view, I can totally appreciate that. And this actually reminds me of one of our members, our long-term members in the Muscle After 40 Blueprint, Paul Miller. Paul suffered a heart attack back. Oh my goodness, when it's quite a while back now. Well, not that long ago in the 2017, I think it was 2017. I think he had his heart attack. So it's, I mean, by internet standards, that's you know, the last ice age, but right. But by real world standards, it's not that long ago. Right. So I mean, he went through it. No, he's been very open and transparent and sharing like how he's transformed his life. You know, there was Paul 1.0 before the heart attack, and then there's Paul 2.0 after the heart attack, and he's like a totally different person. And now, in addition to getting in his own best shape, he also runs a local fitness group through his local church. They call it Fitness with Friends, where he's helping teach seniors and the members of his church fitness and nutrition. So a lot of the stuff that we're teaching through the Muscle After 40 Blueprint program, he's like reteaching it and making it applicable for seniors in his church. And it's just amazing to see him make that full transition. So it's, yeah, I love how Craig rephrased it. You know, it's not, you know, walking is all I can do at the moment. Let me rephrase that. I get to walk. Right. Yeah. Once you look at it from that point of view, it changes things entirely. You know, I don't have to do it. I get to do it.
Yeah, totally. I got a friend of mine, and he's a paraplegic, and you know, he follows a lot of my fitness stuff.
Yep.
And you know, I mean, he's told me numerous times, you know, he's like, you know, he's like, I wish I could do that kind of stuff and everything. And you're so lucky you get to go and do that kind of stuff, and it just totally like reframes your you know, your whole mindset when you're going into doing some kind of exercise or anything like that. You're like, you know what, I really am lucky that I have a working body and one that I can use, and I can go do this every single day. And yeah, it just reframes it and, you know, puts things into perspective, you know, that like, yeah, I am lucky that I get to do this every day, and it motivates me to keep doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. When you put it in that kind of perspective, you know, it really reframes things in a totally different light.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that. You know.
Yeah. Let's make the most out of our lives while we're here, right?
That's right. You know, don't focus on what we don't have, focus on what we do have and what we can do. All right. We have Mr. Opie Drums has a question. Mike and Arnold had very different views, both worked for them. Blech, I'm getting tongue-tied. I don't think it's right or wrong either way. And thank you, Jeff. You're too kind. And that he has got a great point there. Right? It worked for them, and ultimately, that's what you need to figure out is what works for you.
Yeah.
Right? What works for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to share a little side note from someone who works in the fitness industry, and I kind of think I'm a little different than a lot of the you know bigger businesses in the fitness industry because I'm just I'm just me, right? It's just Lee Hayward's Total Fitness Bodybuilding, right? You get what you see. I don't have a hidden agenda or anything like that. I mean, it's just I'm trying to help people, and there's no hidden agenda here. But once you get people at a certain level of fitness and they have a certain level of business and reputation and there's money on the line and all that, they will skew the truth to favor what it is they're selling, right? Well, that's just the way things work. Like it or hate it, that's the way things work. So it'd be interesting, like if we could go back in time to Mike Mentzer, for example, when he was actually training for the Olympia, and actually see Mike and his brother Ray, because the two of them trained together and stuff, and see what they actually did back in the 70s and the 80s or in all those days. Because I'm willing to bet he did more than one set per exercise. I'm willing to bet he trained more than once every 4 days. Like, I bet when he was an up and coming bodybuilder and actually built his physique. Now, again, I don't know. I could be totally wrong, right? This is just me shooting wind up my ass here. But it'd be interesting to see what he really did versus what he was selling when he had his program and all that stuff, that what we're seeing, the aftermath, when he's making the videos and he's up on stage presenting and saying, oh, you only need to work out, do one set, you only need to do it every 4 days and blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, yeah, it sounds good, but what did you actually do? Right?
Yeah.
I'd say there's a little bit of difference there, right?
Yeah.
Because he's really mastered something that what sells online these days is when you're controversial, right? When you got something that's totally off the wall, it gets a lot of attention. I mean, heck, we're talking about it, right? I mean, we're promoting it right here. We're talking about it. We're getting the buzz going.
Yeah.
So if he had a eat right, exercise, train 3 days a week, eat your veggies and eat your protein, say your prayers and go to bed at a decent hour. It's so blah, right? It's so boring and vanilla that nobody's going to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have some crazy extreme program, then everybody's talking about it, and it indirectly promotes it.
Yeah.
So
I feel like Mike too is like, he was such a smart,
yes.
intelligent guy, and he's so well spoken and stuff like that. Like when he's saying things, it's like you'll believe anything he says just by the way he presents it.
Yeah. But the thing is, when it comes to scientific research and stuff, like we see this all the time now, and a lot of people are kind of like pulling back the curtains on stuff. Like, we can manipulate a scientific study to get results that we want. Like, if I wanted to, I could find studies to show that heavy duty is far superior. If I want, I can go find studies to show that a higher volume approach is more superior. Just the same as, I could get a study to show that a vegan diet is superior or a carnivore diet is superior or whatever. Like, you can mix and match and kind of cherry pick and manipulate the variables to make it what you want. So that's where you really need to say, like, what works for you? What do you enjoy doing, and what actually works for you? And you have to find that. And it is going to be a bit of trial and error. And of course, having someone that you can get some advice and guidance from is certainly helpful. Someone who's been there, done that, to learn from. But ultimately, you have to make it your own, right? Like, everyone's journey is unique when it comes to this.
Yeah. So, Lee, are you on Instagram at all? Because this is
not much, but I do have an Instagram account, which is kind of a bit dormant. But why?
Yeah. So I saw an Instagram reel the other day that I thought was hilarious, and I should have sent it to you, but it was a man. He's walking through the grocery store, and he's like, all right, going to get fit, healthy, and in shape. I'm going to grab this. And he grabs a box of oatmeal. And then all of a sudden a fitness influencer comes up and it says, oatmeal is killing your gains. And he was like, oh, no. He puts the oatmeal back on the shelf, right? And then he goes over to the vegetables, right? And he picks up a bell pepper and he goes, oh, I'm going to get this bell pepper. And another fitness influencer comes up and says, vegetables are trash. And then he's just going all around the grocery store, right? He's like, I'm gonna get this salmon. It's like, salmon is killing your gains. And finally he goes over, he's like, I guess I'm just getting water, right? He picks up this gallon of water, and then another fitness influencer goes up, it's like, drinking water is making you weak. It's just hilarious. So it just reminded me what you said about like the controversy, right?
Right? Just curl up in a ball and then
right. How people skew things and everything, and to try to be controversial and sell whatever it is that they're selling, right?
It's ridiculous, yeah, for sure. And nowadays where information is so freely spread, those contradictions and obscurities and stuff, it just goes off the charts, right?
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you'll have to share that with me. I'd like to check it out.
Yeah.
All right, what else we got there? Ray is joining in, says he's trying to lose body fat. What are you trying to do, Ray? All right, we addressed that a bit earlier on. I think, or someone else said, how did they lose their tummy? And Ray is saying, I want to lose body fat. Like, give us some meat to work with here. What are you doing, like, as far as diet, exercise, something there? Because, I mean, I'll give you the solution to lose body fat: eat less and move more. That works. That's proven, scientifically proven to work. If you eat less and move more, you will lose body fat. But I'd like to give you a bit more something to work with there. So if you feel free to elaborate on your question, and we'll try and give it a more substantial answer. But yeah, that's my one-liner, right? You give me a one-liner question, I'm trying to lose body fat, or how do you lose body fat? Eat less and move more.
Can I elaborate on that a little bit?
Feel free. Yeah.
So because it kind of reminds me, I mean, this is a different situation perhaps than what Ray's talking about, but I mean, I was having a conversation recently with somebody who was asking me the same thing. They're like, I want to lose fat. I want a flat stomach. Like I think it was Christina said at the beginning of the chat and everything.
Yeah.
And I asked what they were doing, and they said they went through their whole routine and everything. And it was all heavy on cardio, like all the time. It was like cardio every single day, like was cardio and everything. And it was like, I'm not losing the weight as fast as I wanted to. And, my suggestion was to do more strength training, because I really feel like the more muscle that you build on your frame, the faster your metabolism is, right? The more you're going to burn calories just at rest, like just being alive, right? Like you'll naturally just burn more calories doing that. And, I remember when I was doing a lot of cardio and stuff, like it always felt like it was kind of like up and down all the time. Like there was like some days I would be 5 pounds heavier, some days I'd be 5 pounds lighter and all that.
Sure.
And this past weekend, my wife and I, we were celebrating 8 years being married, and we went out, and let me tell you, this past weekend, Lee, I balled out. We went out to a restaurant, and we just went nuts. Like I got the ribeye with the blue cheese crust, and it was cooked in truffle butter. Had a couple glasses of some cognac, and then Sunday we went to the North End in Boston, which is some of the best Italian food you'll ever have. And I got veal saltimbocca, and then I had some of my wife's tortellini, and and then the Sunday before that we went out. We got Chinese food too, and all that. And and I'm thinking to myself this whole time, I'm like, oh, I don't even want to step on the scale because it's going to be awful, right? I stepped on the scale on Monday and I didn't gain a pound. So I accredit a lot of that, right? I mean, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to make a routine out of going that hard all the time, obviously. But like, I accredit a lot of that to like the strength training work that I do, and the muscle that I've built over the years, right? So it's like it's like you give yourself more wiggle room, or by doing that, by adding more muscle to your frame. So anybody who ever asked me, like, what can I do to lose weight? It's like, prioritize strength training.
That's a great tip. Yep.
Yeah. Because that was a game changer for me.
It is, and there's. I'm glad you actually elaborated on this, because for everyone who was posted those how to lose fat questions, okay, Jeff just gave us some meat to work with here. That was great, and I just want to elaborate. You went out, okay, so like last week you had the Chinese food. This week you had the steak and the Italian food and everything else. So one bad meal isn't going to make or break your progress, nor is one good meal. So there's a lot to unpack with that. So you did it last week and you did it again just recently, this past weekend. So 2 weeks ago and this weekend. All right, gotcha.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you didn't gain a pound.
Nope.
That's good. But guess what? If you did that week after week after week, eventually you're going to start gaining some pounds.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
what you do consistently, right?
Yeah,
So
no,
if you said, "Oh, well, I can get away with that. I had 2 massive cheat weekends in a row." Well, if you keep having those cheat weekends, hey, your body it's going to catch up, and eventually the pounds are going to start to accumulate.
Yeah.
Vice versa, it works the opposite way. I've seen it so often where people say, "Oh, I tried that diet and exercise and it didn't work." Like I went on a diet for a week, or I tried going to the gym for a week and I didn't lose any weight and I quit. Like it takes longer than a week for something to set in. Like if you eat a healthy meal today or you eat like crap today, you're going to look the same tomorrow. Mm-hmm. If you go to the gym today or if you sit on the sofa and watch Netflix all day, you're going to look the same tomorrow. Like in the short term, nothing is going to change. Right? If you smoke a pack of cigarettes today, you're not going to get cancer tomorrow. If you don't smoke cigarettes today, you're still, like nothing's going to happen in the short term. But it's what do you do day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. Mm-hmm. That's when we zoom and extrapolate this out over 5, 10, 15 years, that's where you get the massive night and day, either positive transformation or negative transformation. Right. So like we need to look at it much bigger and broader. It's not just what are you doing in the moment and thinking that I'm going to eat a healthy meal today and I'm going to be lighter on the scale tomorrow, or I'm going to go to the gym today and I'm going to be leaner and more muscular tomorrow. No, it takes time, right? Yeah. It takes a lot of time. Mm-hmm. But what you compound and do consistently, you're going to get the results. And the way it is, I always like to look at it like a balancing act. Like if you have more good habits than bad, you're going to get positive results over time. If you have more bad habits than good, then you're going to spiral and have negative results over time. So it's really tipping that scale in favor of what it is you want to achieve.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And another thing I can totally attest to is the cardio versus weight training. If you want to see the most changes in your physique, weight training / strength training will give you a bigger change in terms of body composition than cardio will. Now, not saying that don't do cardio because it has its whole slew of benefits, but from a body composition, building muscle, losing fat, looking better in the mirror, weight training has a bigger impact. So you definitely want to prioritize that. Cardio should be a supplement to the weight training to help burn off extra calories and extra body fat, but the weight training should be the primary emphasis. And back when I was competing in bodybuilding, that's the way it was. Weight training was the foundation, and then I supplemented that with extra cardio to help burn body fat. If you look at like people who do a lot of weight training, bodybuilders specifically, look at the physiques that they have versus people who do a lot of cardio, whether it's runners or cyclists or whatever. Nobody's going to have the degree of muscle and leanness of a competitive bodybuilder who prioritizes the strength training, right? Even though the cardiovascular endurance athletes, they could be in amazing shape and have amazing levels of fitness for those sports, physique-wise, body composition-wise, it just doesn't match up, right? You will never see an elite marathon runner who has the level of muscle or definition as an elite bodybuilder. So if that's what you're trying to achieve, then you definitely want to prioritize the resistance and strength training from a physique enhancement, a physique aesthetics point of view.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So again, thanks for sharing that. That's some good meat to chew on there.
Well, I feel like it's been a testament to how I've matured over the years, because I remember when like if I had a cheat meal coming up or something like that, like I'd stress about it all week thinking that like I was going to gain all this weight back and everything. And like, I've realized, that as long as your lifestyle like stays intact, right? It's about the overall picture and the lifestyle. So like, I did those cheat meals, but then I also got 5 workouts in. I didn't let it derail my entire life. Right. It wasn't like all of a sudden like, oh, I had 2 cheat meals. So I guess that means I'm skipping all my workouts this week and
just as well to quit.
You're right. I might as well just quit. It's over. Yeah. It's like, come
I'm
on,
serious.
come on.
People do that, right? They're on, like they're perfect diet, perfect workout, perfect diet, perfect workout. And they'll get a week or two in a row, and then they have their cheat meal or they miss the gym and like, I knew I couldn't do this. Screw it. Right. I'm gonna order a pizza, get a bag of Doritos and a case of beer, and the hell with the gym. Cancel my gym membership and
Right.
order skip the dishes. Right? Like
It made it made the cheat meals just like that much more enjoyable, because when I used to have cheat meals, I like the whole time I'm doing it, it's like I almost wasn't even enjoying it, because I was just like I felt like I
missing
had
out over it.
yeah, right, because I had
Feeling
like
guilty over it and all that. Yeah.
right, because there's like social pressures to like do it, and it's like so it's like now it's like it's an 8-year wedding anniversary with my wife. I'm gonna go enjoy that, right?
Really?
Like, that's something to celebrate, and going to the North End in Boston. I don't get to go to the North End in Boston all the time. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna sit there and drink water while everybody else eats Italian food around me. Like, I'm not gonna stress about it as much. It's made life way more enjoyable. It's like you always say, right? Like it's about how quickly you can get back on track.
That's so true. And the thing we need to realize, like, we're not eating for fuel. Like, I know a lot of bodybuilders and fitness folks say, oh, you're eating to fuel the muscle and all this. And they always think of food as in calories, protein, carbs, and fat and blah, blah. But real people do not eat calories, protein, carbs, and fat. They eat filet mignon, and they eat, a nice, a nice pasta dish, or they eat like food. They eat meals. They eat real food. They enjoy it. And food is part of our culture. It's part of who we are. It's how we celebrate and spend quality time together. Like, you can't just ignore that for the sake of, hey, does it meet my macros? Like, you have to find that balance, right? Like, yes, you do want to eat good quality, healthy food, but at the same time, you have to make it fit in with a lifestyle so that you enjoy it. And what you explained there, you enjoyed those meals, and then you got back on track with your more basic, boring, regular routine meals.
Yeah.
And you can do that. And that's the key to sustainability is knowing how to balance this out. Right? I give you seeing we're on the topic. I want to just use another analogy to drive this point home. It's one that I'm sure a lot of people will be able to relate to, especially if you're a smoker or if you know someone who is a smoker, which I'm sure everybody does. How often have you seen a smoker try to quit smoking? I think every smoker who's ever put a cigarette in their mouth has tried to quit at one point or another. Right? It's pretty common. And what do? They quit cold turkey or whatever they do. And then let's just say they go a full week without smoking cigarettes. And then all of a sudden, in a moment of weakness, they smoke a cigarette. Like, let's just say, okay, I went all week, didn't have one. Then on the weekend, I smoked a cigarette. What do then? They're like, oh, I knew I couldn't quit smoking. Oh, this is so hard. And they'll beat themselves up over smoking that cigarette. And then they'll say, oh, screw it. Just as well to go buy another pack of cigarettes. I mean, I knew I couldn't quit. And they give up. Whereas instead, they should reframe it and say, you know what? I went a whole week. Instead of smoking 20 cigarettes a day, I only smoked one. Right? So at the end of the week, instead of having 140 cigarettes smoked, I smoked one. One versus 140. Like, that's progress. That is freaking amazing progress.
Yeah.
Forgive, correct, continue. I'm going to start again. I'm going to see how long I can go without smoking again. So instead of beating themselves up because they snuck in that cigarette and then go back to smoking again, they should celebrate the fact that they went several days or a week or whatever it was without smoking and keep moving forward. The same would apply with drinking or drugs or anything that someone's trying to get rid of. Because we have that all or nothing, right? I have to be squeaky clean, perfect, or screw it, I'm going to go indulge, right? Yeah, and that's the way a lot of people approach their diet and exercise, right? This all or nothing trap. And if you can let go of that all or nothing and focus on being good enough, but good enough consistently, man, it's a game changer. It really is, right? I keep preaching it, but until that sinks in, not knowing it up here intellectually, but until that sinks in there, man, you don't know it.
Yeah. It's crazy too, like how you can scale that as well. Like, even with like workouts and stuff like that, you can't go do an hour session, go do a half hour session.
Do 10
right?
minutes, do anything. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Can't do
Something.
20 sets, do 2 sets. Who cares, right? It's like
Yes, something. Yeah.
do something, right? Yeah, right. Be always actively working on yourself, actively working on your fitness, right? Never give up on that and just say screw it and just let everything just, fall apart. Because
Hmm.
it's a journey that you're going to be on the rest of your life.
Exactly. This
Right.
this never ends. Right. It's
Yeah.
not like you go on a diet and lose the weight and I'm done. Right.
Right.
No, it's never done.
Right.
Right?
Right. Yeah.
This is a never-ending process. It never ends. So you have to find out how you enjoy the process. That's the secret here. It's not how fast we can lose the body fat or whatever. It's like the better question. Like I know, like Ray, they're not picking on you, Ray. I'm just using you as an example here. Like, well, he didn't even ask a question. He just made a statement. I'm trying to lose body fat. But where was it? Up here somewhere. Someone was asking, how do you lose tummy fat or whatever it was?
That was at the very beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, way up at the top. All right. Okay. How do you get a flat tummy? Right. So the thing is you need to, like, a better question would be like, how do you enjoy the process? Like, what is the not the strategies? Because we could give you some extreme crazy cutting diets and you could probably lose the fat in the short term, but if you don't change the habits and the lifestyle and everything else that caused you to gain that in the first place, once the diet is over, very often people resort back to their old habits and then they undo all the progress they made. And that was me when I was competing in bodybuilding. Yeah, I could suffer it out with the blinders on, boil chicken and broccoli 6 days a week in the gym and 2 hours of cardio a day. It works, but
Yep.
I don't want to live like that. And
Mm.
as soon as that contest was over, right? As soon as the contest was, we're at contest day and the placings were announced and the pictures were taken and everything's said and done, the dust is settled. Then it's like, okay, where's the pizza place? Where's the ice cream shop? Where's the all you can eat buffet? And
Mhm.
it only took a few weeks of binge eating afterwards, like months of dieting to lose the fat to begin with, but only 2 or 3 weeks of binge eating to kind of gain it all back and be back to square one, fatter than ever. So
Yeah.
it's not how do you lose the fat, it's how do you actually enjoy the process and make it a lifestyle. And again, this is what we cover within the whole Muscle After 40 Blueprint program. It's not just another calorie and macro split and a set and rep pattern to go to the gym. It's really creating this holistic lifestyle approach so that this becomes the new version of you, not just giving you some tactics and surface level strategies, which are here today and gone tomorrow.
Right. Yep. Yeah. You got to love it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Right.
Absolutely.
All right. We're coming down. A few more questions coming through here. Let's see what else we got there. Do you guys believe in achieving hypertrophy by high reps 20 plus or in the 8 to 12? It depends. There's certain exercises I find work better for higher repetitions, and there's certain exercises I find work better for low reps. So it depends on the movement. How about you, Jeff?
I find it's easier to achieve hypertrophy at the lower rep ranges than the higher because, like, when you get to the higher reps, it's like the lactic acid sometimes is just so intense that it's like you might give up just before like you've actually reached like like close to failure.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
8 to 12, it's like, if you're getting
right.
on that eighth rep and you can't do another one, it's like, I don't know, it's just you can it's easily you can detect it a little easier, I suppose.
You're right. It takes more mental fortitude to grind out those high reps because
Yeah.
the lactic acid and the burn and the fatigue is there, but you can keep going if you can suffer through the pain. Right? You can
Yeah.
sometimes still go. But
Yep.
if the reps are lower, you will actually hit that momentary muscular failure where, look, no, I can't do anymore. Right?
Yeah.
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 So
You'll get a
agree
gnarly
there.
pump. You'll get a gnarly pump with the high reps.
Yeah.
Right.
But
But
yeah.
if you're going for hypertrophy, I don't know. Personally, I'd stick with the lower ones, but it depends on the exercise too.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that 8 to 12, I mean, within that's a pretty broad range too. Because I mean, if you're doing 12 reps, like for most isolation exercises, 12 reps is a good range to shoot for. For some of the heavier compound lifts, your bench presses and your rows and your squats and deadlifts, that 8 rep range, or even probably even in the 5 to 8 rep range for the real heavy compound lifts, and then that 10 to 12 rep range for the isolation stuff. But
Mhm.
there are some cases where I will do 20 plus reps, like for abdominal work, maybe,
Yeah.
or certain mobility exercises or whatever. I might do 20 reps, but or push-ups, a lot of times, banging out high sets of push-ups and things like that. Definitely do higher than 20 reps.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, yeah, I'd be, the majority of my workouts are in that 8 to 12 rep range for sure. Right.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right. Opie's got another question. Do you think it's possible to do keto and build muscle at the same time?
Yep.
It's possible. It's not optimal, but it's possible. That's my quick and dirty answer.
Yeah. Yep.
What do you feel, Jeff?
Yeah, it's possible.
Mhm.
If you want to go that route. Yeah. I don't know. It's not really keto, but like, so you and I haven't talked in so long that I've actually had a couple experiments and things like that since we've done a video
Oh,
yet.
right.
And about like, I don't know, about like a month ago, maybe, I tried doing intermittent fasting
Yeah.
and skipping breakfast and, well, okay. So not so much intermittent fast because technically wasn't fasting, but I would just have coffee with butter. I tried the bullet coffee thing.
Okay.
You ever done that coffee with butter? Like breakfast
I
butter?
know what you're talking about. I've never ever done it,
It's a big
but
keto thing, right? It's drinking coffee with the butter in it, right? So,
yes. Oh, yeah. The bulletproof coffee.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I was skipping breakfast. I typically have something bigger for a breakfast, but I was skipping it and I was doing coffee with butter instead. And then, with the butter and everything, like it's very satiating. So like I feel like I wouldn't be hungry until like 1 p.m. ish, like,
Mhm.
2 p.m. ish. And then I'd have lunch. And then by the time I got home for dinner, I would just be starving. And then it was like I just could not stop eating, right? I'd have like a huge meal, and then it was like just snacking, just
Mhm.
constant.
Open the floodgates, right?
Yeah, until I went to bed at night, and then like rinse and repeat I did that
Yeah.
for like maybe like 2 or 3 weeks.
Mhm.
And so I was very much in a calorie deficit for a while, and I was still getting like stronger, which is weird. Like I was exhausted and everything, and I was really super hungry, and I could tell I was in a deficit, but I was still getting stronger with my lifts and stuff during the week.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, so what that brought to light is that it's like, you can still get stronger in a deficit, you can still get stronger in a surplus, you can still get
Mhm.
stronger on keto, you can still get stronger on carnivore, on vegan, whatever, right? It's like, are some things more optimal than others? Probably. But yeah, you can build muscle and you can get stronger doing keto, or you can get stronger doing anything, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, for
You know?
sure. Yeah, I mean, and that's a good point. Like, progress can be made with multiple different ways. Now, one thing I will say, if your main goal is to build muscle, would I recommend a ketogenic diet? Heck no.
No, I
It's
wouldn't.
not the optimal diet because you're leaving out a lot of variables. But is it possible to make progress or build muscle in keto? Yeah, anything is better than nothing, right? Like,
Mm,
and you also have to look at the level of fitness of the person doing it. So if someone's coming back after a layoff or they're deconditioned, their body's going to respond to anything they do consistently. Whereas if you have someone who's already been training consistently for years and they're trying to optimize their progress, going on a keto diet is not the optimal way to build muscle. I mean, it could aid with fat loss, and that's generally what most people follow keto for, but not from a muscle building point of view. I think a well balanced diet is certainly a better option for muscle building.
yeah.
You
Yep.
know,
I
right?
think
And just
keto.
to quickly share something, I want to just share
Yeah.
some results here of one of our guys. Let's just see if this is a regular of our. Is that coming through?
Yep.
Let me see that. Okay, this is I'm going to move Opie's
Ooh,
question.
Iron Mike Brown.
Iron Mike, yeah. And Mike, regular of the Muscle After 40 Blueprint program. I mean, he's one of our success stories that we've featured on the website and that. But he started in 2020 following keto. So from 2020 to 21, that was his results following a ketogenic diet. All right. Now he lost a lot of body fat, and got lean, but then he wanted to focus on filling out his frame and building muscle and achieving a body recomposition. So it was in 21 where Mike came on board with the Muscle After 40 Blueprint, and he started eating more carbohydrates. So the first thing we changed was, I said, let's get off that ketogenic diet and follow a well-balanced eating plan. So he started doing that, and he started to fill out his frame, and he actually lost even more body fat in doing so. And just recently, now in the 23 picture, I mean, here he is in best shape of his life, full, muscular. Mike's kind of, you know, he self-admits he's OCD. So like he's very serious, very committed. And with his workouts, like he's not one to miss a workout. So he's very strict with this, but he's eating 5 meals a day now, carbohydrates with each meal, protein with each meal, and he's filled out his frame. I mean, he's made a lot of muscle gains. And look at these pictures. And for those of you watching this now, like just think of what do you think the weight difference is in these pictures? Like Jeff, do you know? You probably know from Mike.
Like what the difference is between
like even 2020 to 23.
2020 to 23. I imagine it's in the ballpark of like, I don't know, 180-ish. Like
there's 5 pounds difference, but he's 5 pounds lighter in 2023.
That's what
5 pounds lighter than he was in 2020.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact number off the top of my head now.
Yeah.
He's in the 160s. So he was in the high 160s in 2020. Now he's in the low 160s in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
That's like for a man, like whatever. He's sub 165, I think, in the 2023 picture there. But still, like, look at the difference, right? Like that's what a body recomposition is all about. It's not like if you look at his progress on the scale, you'd say, oh, gee, you didn't do nothing. You lost 5 pounds. Big whoop, right? Most people would consider themselves a massive failure if they went on a quote unquote diet and lost 5 pounds. But look at the physique transformation. I mean, when he peels off the shirt, there's a totally different Mike underneath. It's not just the 5 pounds on the scale, right?
Yep.
You know, so like stop just obsessing over the scale and people say, oh, and I'm freaking out because, I only lost a pound or I only did this or I only did that. No, it's more than that. And that applies to even some of the coaching students who are going through the program. Like see guys saying, well, I'm getting stronger. My weights are going up in the gym, but I only lost 2 pounds. Like what's wrong? That's great progress. If you're getting stronger and you've lost 2 pounds, that's a sure sign you're building muscle and you're losing body fat. Keep going. Right. So this is Mike's 3-year transformation, 5 pounds over 3 years. Like most people looking at that would say, wow, 5 pounds, 3 years, that sucks. Until you look at the pictures and then you're like, that's amazing. 5 pounds in 3 years, or the transformation that he achieved over the course of 3 years, I should say.
Man, how awesome is Mike, huh?
He is awesome, man. I got to say, I got nothing but respect for the guy. And he's participating in on our VIP group and sharing and inspiring. And we have our weekly Zoom calls and stuff like that. And he's in there. I mean, he's such a, not only like he's doing it for himself, but he's also a role model and helping to inspire so many other people as well. So it's like high tide raises all ships here. Right?
Yeah, totally. Yep.
Yeah. How are you doing for time, Jeff? I know we're over the hour.
Yeah, I kind of got to get going.
All right.
This has been a lot of fun, though.
It was great to catch up with you again. I know when you messaged me and said that you could do a video chat today, I said, all right, I'm going to switch my live at 5 and we're going to go live at 1. Yeah. And I'm glad we did. It was great to catch up with you again. And I know there's still more questions coming through here, but I tell you what, for anyone who posted a question, if you didn't get an answer, you have my permission to reach out to me personally, whether you want to send me a Facebook Messenger message or send me an email. Contact information's down in the description below this video, and we can chat offline, and I'll do the best I can to help you out with whatever questions and topics of discussion that you have posted there that we don't have time to answer right now. All right, and Jeff's contact information is there as well if you want to follow him over on Instagram. I know you're posting you're still posting your fitness reels and workouts over there as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you should see them. The recent ones are great because I got the foliage in the background here in New Hampshire.
I know. I've seen that you posted a picture today or just recently talking about the training outdoors in the fall.
Love it. Yeah. Love it. Love it. I'm like, I wish like it wasn't going to be cold in 2 months because like I am loving this calisthenics park. And
what's the temperature like right now?
Right
You're
now,
shirtless. Shirtless in October.
It's been like it's been like mid 60s. It's like crazy. I mean, today's a little cooler. It's like mid 50s, but it's been really great. Sunny.
Nice.
Yeah, totally.
Enjoy.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
we're,
Because
we're,
a
we're
month from
kind
now,
of
it's gonna be
we're a bit colder than that. We're probably, I guess, if we do the conversion, in the 40s where I live here in Newfoundland. 40s Fahrenheit. I know everybody who's Canadian saying 40. What the hell are you talking about? It's like 40 degrees Celsius is like pushing 100 degrees Fahrenheit or something, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, because we've been getting the single digit temperatures, so so that's probably in the 40s thereabouts.
Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy it while I can because
Oh heck yeah! I mean,
a
60s is a comfortable temperature to be outside exercising because you're not sweltering in the heat, but at the same time you're not freezing your nuts off either.
yeah. Really quick. I got to tell you. So,
Yeah.
Kayla and I, my wife, we just booked a trip in February. We're going to Big Bend National Park in Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm really
I've never
excited.
heard of Big Bend. I'll have to look it up. Big Bend National Park. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really super excited about that. It's going to be a really active, vacation. It's the closest airport is 5 hours from the park, so it's super remote.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're staying inside the park. And there's no cell service, no TV, like no nothing. It's gonna be 6
That
days.
sounds like heaven. You're off the grid.
I know. I can't wait. And like the weather is supposed to be like mid 60s, 70s, like in February in Texas. It's right on the Mexican border. It's like right where the Rio Grande is on the other side of Mexico. So really super excited about that. So yeah, so hopefully get some more outdoor workouts even happening in the wintertime.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that'd be awesome for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks for joining in, Jeff, and thanks for sharing. I mean, you added a lot of value to the video chat, and it's much appreciated.
Yeah. Always happy to, Lee. Thanks for having me.
All right, and before we go, where are you playing tonight?
I'm playing at Sunapee Mountain in Anchorage at Sunapee in Sunapee, New Hampshire.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody's in Sunapee, New Hampshire, what was the post I seen? You says you posted some good memes here recently promoting your gigs. So
I'm glad you appreciate it.
Don't go visit your grandma or something. I don't know what it's. What was the meme you posted today?
Oh, it was a picture of a woman staring at a massive tidal wave, and under the woman it said, a family celebrating what could possibly be Granny's last birthday. And then the tidal wave says, your band sound check at 7 p.m. Yep.
So we could go watch the band.
Yeah. Yep.
Granny's last birthday.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
Good stuff. I mean, I guess it's. Are you into the Halloween themes? Yes.
Yeah? Oh yeah. I got my Halloween costume all ready to go. We got a Halloween gig next weekend.
Nice. Good stuff. All right. Well, I'll let you go. Let you get to it, and we'll be in touch. So thanks again for joining in. And for those of you who are watching now, I just want to give you a heads up that the replay of this will be posted up afterwards. And if you do want to reach out to myself or Jeff, feel free to do so. Our contact details are down in the description below. Be happy to have a chat with you. And make sure to subscribe to the Total Fitness Bodybuilding YouTube channel and smash that thumbs up button if you enjoyed it. And we will talk to you next week. Take care. Over and out. Done.